Well, this is Michael Dove, and I'm here with my dear friend, John Salunga. And hey, John, and we're going to talk about an important upcoming workshop that will be presented from the nation, the kingdom of Cambodia. It will take place on the 11th of January, 2024. And the title of this workshop is Planetary Healing from Cambodia. And so I want to say, welcome, John.
All
How are
right.
you today?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. It's good to connect with you again, Dove, and hear sort of what next teachings you're offering, for our community and sort of some of your inspirations that are arising. Yeah, so I'm looking
Mhm.
forward to this chat with you.
Okay, yes. I'm very excited about it as well because I feel like it's time. I've been getting this inspiration about bringing like the teaching, the workshops, and the training to a higher level of seriousness because that's what's called for now. And I think a lot of people feel that. I think a lot of people feel that calling to want to be more consciously, more seriously, more effectively engaged and consequential in the world, i.e., to bring more healing, to bring more truth, to bring more resolution, to bring more wholeness, and are being motivated in that direction. So, so I essentially chose Cambodia
Hmm.
as a place to kind of present this because Cambodia is a place that historically has experienced a significant amount of trauma,
Yeah.
geopolitical trauma, war trauma, and such. And now it seems to be a place of significant and powerful healing that it is emerging out of the trauma and in a process of healing. And so it's that kind of energy, that kind of essence that I would like to be uh, in touch with in terms of teaching, in terms of presenting ways for us, people, our community, uh, anybody that would be interested to step into becoming a more powerful, consequential healer on this planet now, in the world now, to be able to address and respond to the distresses and situations and very, very grave challenges that are happening on the planet now. And so it's necessary for spiritual people, conscious people, people who take their development seriously to have a way of meeting the challenges that are happening in a meaningful way. You see what I'm saying? In a way that is effective, that has the kind of traction and even results that are necessary to be able to address the humanity, the suffering that people around the world are experiencing in a credible way. You see, in a way that utterly speaks to the truth of the realities that we are collectively living through. And so that's kind of like a little bit of the spirit of what we're trying to do,
Hmm.
what I'm trying to like facilitate here.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little step back for a moment, Dove. And I know you've been using this phrase, deep soul work.
Yes.
in some of the things that you've been offering this past year. So I know this is part of that, the Deep Soul Work Masterclass
Hmm.
um, taking place. So can you maybe just touch a little bit upon? I mean, I feel like you've sort of
Oh,
mentioned a
certainly.
little, but maybe just touching upon just that
Yes, yes,
phrasing.
yes, yes.
So
Oh,
go ahead.
certainly, certainly, yes. Yeah, yeah, because the idea of deep soul work, it comes out of the notion, the belief that we, within the center of our beings, in terms of the design of who we are,
Mhm.
contains the answers, okay? Contains the response, the power, the way of meeting whatever challenge is out there. That we have this capacity naturally within us. So I've been teaching lately the idea of deep soul work. Okay, how do we tap those levels of this capacity to respond to what is necessary? Necessary enough to be able to imbue our lives with meaning, with the meaning and the fulfillment that kind of drew us into this world, into this incarnation, into who we are in the first place. That the source, the place where we have to go, is on the deep soul level. You see, it's required that we um, that we engage, meet, in, uh, and encounter ourselves on a deep, deep soul level. So I think that a lot of the challenges that occur in our lives, either personally or even on a collective level in the world, are are in some ways designed to activate us and to be able to touch our and activate our potential to grow, to evolve, to hold realization enough to be able to meet the challenge. You see, so another way of saying it is that it is through the deep, deep soul work that we rise to the occasion. You see, we rise to what is uh, necessary, the necessary capacity to engage what is happening, what's going on, what is challenging us in the world. So the idea of learning learning how to uh, actualize our potential to the degree that we're able to credibly, authentically, in a meaningful and effective way, respond to the things that are, the drama and the challenges that are being before us. And that's kind of what this workshop, this training, is about. So I call it a training, a teaching, where we learn like techniques and principles, and reasons why uh, engaging these challenges from a soul level is not only credible but actually practical, and maybe even from a certain perspective it may be actually the only way that we truly can, meaning that very few of us have our own you know geopolitical uh, institutional entities that are able to just directly in a traditional way address things, address challenges and such. But we do have this infinite reservoir of potential that's within, and that's what this is about, tapping. You see, that's what this is about. um, and I think that the time's coming up uh, will show that it'll become clearer and clearer that that we have to call upon these more profound potentials that are latent, that are there within us, that are latent within us. And so that's what this whole workshop training, I think, will be about.
Yeah, I think just listening to you, I feel like there's this kind of sharpening or like a refining or like a, you know, taking stock of how things are, what's going on around the world and in our own lives and our communities, and meeting the moment is sometimes the phrase that I hear.
Hmm. Yes, yes, yes. In a sense, it's like I often use the term like taking charge. All right. And we hear that phrase in various ways all the time. It's a very, very common way of saying things, to take charge. But what I like to do is look like deeper into the essence of what that means. Okay, if we think about it now, to take charge, okay, to within our being hold current. Allow energy to move through, to take charge. Like a light bulb takes charge, an electric engine takes on charge, and thus becomes activated, animated, uh, uh, illuminated. If it's and becomes fully functional. So in a sense, it's like an invitation for us as beings, maybe for the first time, really, to take charge. To take charge. And my particular vision about all of this is that I visualize like a group, a community, an order, a team, of individuals and collectives that consciously, intentionally, with great volition and capacity, take charge in the world. And when I say take charge, it means being animated with a light, with energy, to bring incandescence and frequency. So individuals who are able to bring new frequency into the game, into the world, into the field, into the collective, to bring new frequency that has this capacity to address the discord, the distress, the negativity, that which is misaligned, or not fully whole, or not fully functioning, or sources of suffering, to bring credible frequencies that answer the distress in a meaningful way. So that's the idea. That's the intention behind this particular training. The planetary healing, like from Cambodia.
What would you say? I mean, how does visiting a location like Cambodia? I know you mentioned it earlier. The history and just what's happened to that part of the world. So, how does visiting a place like Cambodia allow for conditions to like more fully engage in planetary healing?
Yes. It's sometimes, and this is I believe a truth. Many times there absolutely is no substitute to showing up. Okay, you can read about certain things. You can see it on television. You can see old footage. You can see a photo, pictures, and all of that, and all of that is wonderful. But at this age, my own personal age of wisdom, of being now tells me that in many cases there absolutely is no substitute to not showing up, being there, like on the ground, tapping into and witnessing, seeing, being steeped in energies, like, as I like to say, for real, being there. And so the intention here is to create as close as one possibly can an engagement with the healing energies, uh, the recovery
Mm.
from trauma, significant trauma, historic collective trauma that has happened in the world, happened like on this planet, to see where these scars took place. You see, so this is the value. You see, this is the value of going to where certain events occurred, to being amongst people who have a memory of, who can tell you about it, and can show you the places, can show you the spots, to say, look, see there, this is where that happened. Look, see, you can see the evidence, you can see the impact, you can see the, the everything that pertains to that. And so this is why I say that I want this workshop training, and I believe that this workshop training will have a level of seriousness to it. You see, I'm calling forth, and I'm putting the invitation out to people who are ready to be real in their devotion. You see, to bring it forth, maybe even be prepared to put it to the test in the real world, and sort out what that means. Because here, what we're talking about, and as I like to say, is that we're learning to be true humans on this planet. We're learning what it means to be fully, completely whole in our humanness. All right. What that means is that we have to be able to look at everything and find the capacity to meet it all in its fullness, to meet it all in its truth. And this kind of training, we learn to sensitize ourselves. You see, we learn to be fully present, and to be conscious enough to bring forth, engage, respond to, in a sacred, and even find the divinity within, to bring forth in real time, as we are living and being in this world now, in the way that the world is, in the way that we are responding to what the world is presenting to us now, in this instance, and in this instant, in this moment. You see. So this is about, in a larger sense, it's about a training in realness. You see. And perhaps, it could be thought of that what we've been living through, and maybe even suffering through, has been a lack of realness. So I believe that it's about time.
Just building off that a little bit, Dov. I mean, think there's a lot of opportunities for people to self develop and learn and work with others. And for you, I feel like there's a certain kind of quality of navigating, sometimes what's called the spiritual marketplace, and there's like a certain type of like offering you're making,
Hmm.
Um,
Oh yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So sometimes, what are some? I don't know if this question is so clear, but what are sometimes some of the ways that if I'm engaging in this self development and consciousness raising, um, I might find myself maybe not at the edge of what's actually
Hmm.
available, but
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know if that question is so clear, but I guess I'm
Okay,
just
yeah, yeah.
looking
I think,
more
but I think what
little
you.
the places I can be on I can maybe take like a detour, and I didn't know that, because
Oh,
I'm feeling like
certainly,
I'm self
certainly.
developing. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, I think I know what you're getting at because it's like, yes, yes. There's so much happening. There's so much available. There's so much going on. There's so much teaching and training and philosophies and thoughts and teachers and everybody's got their program and it's all good. It all has its value and everything. And in a sense, it's like, well, this is one more. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that the idea is that there's a value in grounding in the immediacy of a calling, in the immediacy of what the planet, of the planet and humanity is calling forth, and then being at the edge of like, how do you craft a response? How do you train up individuals and alert them, awake them to how to engage in what is going on? You see, in a meaningful way. So it's like that's kind of what I'm shooting for here. All right, and yes, yes, there's so much going on in the world, and but I believe that there are certain people, certain individuals that are ready, and that there's a calling. Uh, and it's like my job, my role, if you will, is to create just the right invitation, just the right invitation that an individual on the deep soul level can recognize. You see, that kind of cuts through and says, and that person, maybe even a level below consciousness, there's
Mm.
their soul says, I know that. That's calling me. Okay. And the soul decides of itself to step up, to come forth, to move to move forward and engage. And this is uh, how we're choosing, how in this case, kind of choosing to operate, to put our trust in, the capacity that we all have on the deepest, on the deepest soul level. So
Thank
I
you
hope that
for
that
making that
has.
clear for me. I wanted to ask you about this planetary healing that you've been talking about, and what is that looking like at this point in this age? I mean, I know you also offered some teachings about this, the new year coming up, the
Mhm. Yes, yes.
2024. So that makes me think about this age and those energies arising. So I don't know if there's a way you can maybe just speak to emphasizing this age, uh, and the planetary healing of this time.
Ah, yes, 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 yes. Well, it's interestingly enough, I would say first of all, everything is happening, everything is occurring right on time, whether we understand it or not. So, as I mentioned before, this coming year is an 8 year, so it's an 8 year of raising to the next level. And so there's a lot of energetic movement and awakening going on, and shifts that are occurring. It's all good, again, mind you, but for many humans, many people, it's confusing. It's confusing and distressing. They may not fully understand what is happening. So it all feels, or a lot of it feels, just kind of scary. And then there's an impulse to retreat, to shut down, to hide, to not engage, and to dive into what I call helplessness, or what I even refer to as toxic helplessness. And so I believe that it's necessary for people who have some consciousness, some realization, who've worked on themselves, who have amassed a certain amount of development, and who may just simply be not quite as terrified and petrified as many other people, to be able to shed light. And it's like when you bring light and understanding, people begin to see the rightness and the appropriateness of how things are happening and unfolding, and then somehow it feels less dangerous. And that somehow we can wake up and engage and begin to employ, like, our potential, our power, our resources, our wisdom, our capacity to meet the challenges. We become encouraged. And so this is so much of our work, in terms of deep soul work, in terms of consciousness work, in terms of healing work. So when we talk about and look at the concept of, like, planetary healing, what does that look like now? All right. I would suggest that certainly in a significant way, it looks like people just inwardly waking up to their potential and becoming activated, i.e., truly empowered, like in a real way, that they're able to engage what I call spiritual traction and be effective and take meaningful steps. So much, especially in the, quote, new age realms, the word empowerment has been overused to the point of meaninglessness. Okay, everything's empowered, whatever. So it gets thrown around a lot. So I would want to kind of distinguish this, what I mean by it, to something much more serious and potent and meaningful and consequential in the real world as the challenges and things get put before us. So it's like that kind of empowerment is actually what I'm talking about. And so I see it as people being delivered from helplessness, delivered from being petrified and paralyzed on the spiritual level, on the personal level, on a practical level, being brought out of helplessness in such a way that they are engaging, powerfully able to engage and build and take charge, i.e., take charge in a credible, meaningful, true way. And it's like, I believe, what it looks like.
Yeah, when I'm hearing you here, it's just really making me think about this process of healing. You know, it's definitely very individual,
Hmm.
and then there's this way that in a collective or communal context or with others, like there's a whole different quality of the healing that is possible.
Yes, yes. Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's like, can you imagine? Imagine being in like a group of people that have been inspired and motivated from an internal place, but with a clarity, and there's and an enthusiasm and a singularity of purpose, and an absolute conviction of that this task, this challenge, uh, the achievement for the good of the collective, the good of everyone, the good for themselves, is absolutely doable.
Mhm.
Absolutely makes sense. So there is a depth of certainty that pushes away all of the uh, insecurity and distractions and the doubt and the discord and everything that is just not pertinent. It's like that is I think what it begins to look like. You see, as this this kind of empowerment is begins to take root, to take life, to be a real thing with us and amongst us.
And it also makes me just think about the process of, I don't know, maybe it's a phrase that I've heard you say, like spiritual maintenance, but
Mm,
like a maintenance, but also like a leveling up, or
yes, yes,
you
yeah.
know like a very targeted retuning,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
or growing our capacities.
Yes, yes, yeah. Well, I've often taught over the years to many people about, uh, as you say, the spiritual maintenance, the spiritual self-care, all right? How the soul works. What are the principles that allow us to be okay and thrive and such? And this has all been very important, very necessary. But I recognize, and see if this makes sense, that so much about has been about just sheer survival,
Mm.
i.e., helping people to simply tread water, to be okay, to learn the principles, to how to maintain. You see, how to maintain and do take care of themselves, take care of themselves on a soul level. So again, it's I would describe it as an initial basic kind of way of learning how to be okay as a being. All right. But here, we're talking about taking it to the next level. It's like, how do we utilize the very real challenges that are happening on the planet to actualize and excel? What is the context in which we as humans step into our excellence? You see, our excellence as beings, i.e., the fullness of our potential. What kind of world conditions are required to prompt us to dig deeply into the soul level resources and manifest
Mm.
that level of excellence? You see? Um, so again, I'm talking about, like taking it perhaps to a next level, a kind of graduation, if you will.
Mm.
And I'm suggesting that what's happening in our world now, whether we fully realize it or not, is a quality, a principle of graduation. Dare I say, a collective graduation, where we as people, as humans in general, learn to employ uh, effective frequencies, energy, light, focus, attention, i.e., power of soul, if you will, to address conditions as they are, to intentionally, consciously make our lives, the world, where we are now, better. What does that look like on a practical level? How do we begin to operate truly on a more singular accord, in alignment with the potential of actually who we really are? And I think that, again, I think that appeals to a certain number of people. A certain number of people are ready to begin to work, consciously in that way, to take the challenge to step up.
I brought up that phrase earlier that you've mentioned, spiritual maintenance, and maybe there's also that phrase like recovery. You were mentioning that around Cambodia and the trauma and healing from it. So when I'm hearing you share about this leveling up, it's almost like a, I don't know, it's like this word like spiritual offense, like being on the offense, being in the side
Yes,
of, you know what I mean, not just
yeah.
treading water or
Precisely. It's like you use the word offense, and of course, as people automatically think of offensive. All right, and what comes in my mind is proactivity.
okay.
Okay, being proactive, effective. You see,
Creative. Yeah.
creative, results oriented. Just like how does the configuration of our consciousness bring about results? Or as our Native American sisters and brothers might say, do your thoughts grow corn? You see, or do your words grow corn?
Mm.
That's what we're being challenged to step into, to seriously be able to step into that place.
I know as part of the video you released, there was, some descriptions around activations and techniques. So is there a way you can kind of give us just a little sense
Oh, yes,
of
yeah,
that
exactly.
portion, the
Yeah.
applied, portion?
Oh, yes. The intention here is to go deep. So we're going to be utilizing like some very specialized guided meditations, some energetic activation process. Okay, so long distance work, long distance healing, uh, in an activation, meaning to ignite dormant capacities that we may or may not have even been aware are there, but they are there nonetheless. And so spiritual activations, i.e., waking up these aspects of who we are. You see, and that there's some very specialized and time-honored techniques, spiritual techniques, ancient techniques, shamanic techniques that are designed to do just that. And and as I say, it's more timely now for more of us to be aware of those aspects, and engage and avail ourselves to these these techniques. So yes, guided meditations, affirmations, initiations. All of those techniques will be incorporated into this particular training.
I think there's been a lot that you've shared already here, Dove. So, for those that are hearing this invitation, or something is landing, inside of them as they watch the video, this one, or maybe even the other video that you already released. How can people connect with you?
Okay, all right. Well, I'll go over the basic information again. It will take place on the Zoom platform on the 11th of September. No, I'm sorry, 11th of January. 11th of January, which will be a Thursday at 6 o'clock West Coast time and 9 o'clock on East Coast time. We're going to have in the space, the information box below in this video, ways of contacting me and to be able to participate, and the basic information on how to participate. And so we are suggesting a $35 donation for the workshop, for the training. And yes, and so we'll go from there. So I would look forward to seeing everyone. Again, it's like I'm very, very excited about what we're going to be presenting. I think, and even for everyone participating, I will say that I would go so far as to say that it could be life-changing in terms of shifting how we live and operate in this world. Moving from being distressed and feeling helpless to being activated and proactive and engaged, and and thus being able to feel and experience being fully alive, because we are operating out of our purpose and our design as beings, as to why we are even here in the first place.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm appreciating just the timeliness of it, the beginning of the year, you could say, in terms of like that part of our cycles, if that's how people practice, to kind of get like a deep reset and just a deep attunement to our planetary purpose and our contributions at this point in time.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so John, so thank you for helping me talk about this, and I feel like it's going to maybe resonate with a few people. And once again, I say blessings to everyone who is listening, and I look forward to seeing you there and us working very powerfully and beautifully together. So I say thank you and namaste.